entering into part 3 of emotional intelligence. Now, up to this point, I've talked with you about self-awareness and self-management, parts 1 and 2. Now, these are crucial aspects of understanding what it means to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to perceive your own emotions and to be able to manage those emotions so that they don't hijack you, are powerful forces that give you the ability then to be more in control as you face situations in your life. However, there is another aspect that we need to deal with that moves beyond that. Now, these first two parts, social self-awareness and self-management, are both in-looking. They look at who you are as a person. But now we're going to come back and look at the other side, and that is social awareness. And we're going to begin to look outward. This builds upon those first skills of self-awareness and self-management. But now in social awareness, we're going to begin looking outside. And you could say in real terms that this is an embodiment of what it means to be concerned. Now, I mentioned concern in specific contexts, as you know I've shared in another place in another presentation about those guardrails that help us as we manage our way towards fulfilling the purpose and motto of the institution of respect, integrity, and concern. Well, genuine concern acknowledges the value of others' feelings. And I want to set kind of an example here that I'm going to draw from Scripture. And then I want to also talk about some references that both Paul and John make in the New Testament that hinge on this point as well. And the first one starts off with a passage from 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings chapter 4 is a great passage. Elisha is one of the stars, and if you've done much reading in the Old Testament, you know Elisha is one of the ones that you really kind of enjoy reading about, seeing how God's man works in that time frame and milieu. Well, in this particular case, this is a story of the widow that Elisha has helped, and in the process of helping has granted her a son. Through God's grace in her life. And so that's happened in the first part of chapter 4, but the son has taken sick and died. Elisha's a ways away, and this widow jumps on her horse, donkey, whatever, and is now going to meet Elisha to confront him about this death over the son that God has given her. And this is a great passage. It's going to reveal to us a little bit about social awareness here. I think you're going to enjoy. All right, so she saddled the donkey and said to the servant, "Hurry, don't slow down unless I tell you." As she approached the man of God at Mount Carmel, Elisha saw her in the distance, and he said to Gehazi, "Look, the woman from Shunem is coming. Run out to meet her and ask her, 'Is everything all right with you, your husband, and your child?' And the woman said to Gehazi, 'Everything is fine.' But when she came to the man of God at the mountain, she fell down to the ground before him and caught hold of his feet. And Gehazi began to push her away. But the man of God said, 'Leave her alone. She is deeply troubled, but the Lord has not told me what it is.'" Now, it goes on from here where Elisha brings a healing back into her son's life. But the key piece I want to point to is in verse 27. When she came to the man of God at the mountain, she fell to the ground before him and caught hold of his feet. Very understandable. But Gehazi began to push her away. His emotional or his social awareness really low. And Elisha stops and says, "Wait a minute, leave her alone. She is deeply troubled." Now, it's pretty obvious that she was deeply troubled. It would have been obvious to almost anyone, but not to Gehazi. And this awareness, it's surprisingly how it escapes so many people who really, really want to be socially aware of those around them, but are so caught up in the moment of their lives that they cannot see past that moment. And therein lies the difference between the individual who's going to be truly effective in reaching and dealing and working with people and those who are literally trapped in their own rules and laws and perspectives. They're trapped in themselves, really. this whole self-awareness, this whole self-focus, rather not self-awareness, but self-focus, has enabled or blocked them from being able to see past themselves. Now I want to draw your attention now to a passage in Romans chapter 12, starting, I think, yes, here in verse 9. Paul is writing, don't pretend to love others. You see that? Don't pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with a genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Now see, this is social awareness. Don't pretend to love others. Really love them. And then down into verse 13, he says, when God's people are in need, be ready to help them. How are you going to help them if you don't perceive or aware that they're in need? Always be eager to practice hospitality. And then a little further in verse 17, never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all you can to live at peace with everyone. All right, so we saw an example in the Old Testament of someone who was not socially aware, and now we come into the New Testament and through just these little snippets, and of course you could go through passage after passage of being socially aware, of being aware of the needs of others and responding to those needs, which is literally a call of Christ in our lives, and yet one that we so often push back because we are so focused on ourselves. We are so consumed with us that we can rarely see past that to become truly socially aware. One last passage before I move forward, and that is in 1 John chapter 3, verse 18, one of my favorite verses. It says, dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let's show the truth by our actions. Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is being socially aware, is we're going to become people who are not only saying that we are Christian, we love each other, we are attentive, but we're actually beginning to get in the practice of doing that. And I'm going to give you 3 methods to become socially aware. And the first one is to live in the moment. You say, well, of course I live in the moment. I'm in every moment. And it sounds like it's a pretty easy process, but reality says that many, many times we're not. And you can probably gauge this for yourself. When you're in the company of other people, are you literally focused on them? Or are you focused on your phone or a book or a television show or something else? When you are in the presence of other people, are you in the moment with that person, literally focused to hear what they're saying and sense what they're feeling? Or are you distracted? And the distractions can come from a variety of sources, but that does nothing more than pull you away from what God has for you in that moment and in that relationship. So technique number 1 is live in the moment. How do you do that? Here's how you do that. Stop doing other things that distract you. Put your phone down. Tear your eyes away from the TV. Stop reading your book. Look up and look at the person you're dealing with and focus. And then the second one is look. Stop, look, and that is look at their body language. Are they slooped down and depressed? Can you tell by their body language? And you can if you watch people. I know you do. Are you watching people to determine their body language? How are they feeling? I bet right now if you were to go into a parking lot and just watch people going into the store. I like to think about this. So watch people going into the store. Are they frustrated? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they depressed? Are they feel the weight of the world on their shoulders? Stop, but also look. Look at their face, their shoulders, their neck, and look beyond that. Look at what is going on with them, and get a sense of what they're feeling, because it is what they're feeling is going to provide you the secrets to being really socially aware. You know from your self-awareness and your self-management about the emotions that can hijack us and take control of us. Now think about that in relationship to those that you are dealing with. Stop, look, and listen. Now, you've heard that before, haven't you? Yeah, I think that's the old motto about coming to a railroad track. Stop, look, and listen. Well, it works perfectly well here when you're trying to deal with social awareness. Stop allowing distractions to take you out of the moment. Instead, come into the moment. Look at the people you're dealing with and their body language and what's going on with them physically that you can detect emotions from, and then listen. You can tell an awful lot by the choice of words that are used and by the tenor of the voice that are used, the tone of voice, the depression, the sadness, the anxiety, the anger. All of that comes through very clearly if you're willing to hear and to listen and to be a part of that. You remember, don't just pretend to love others, really love them. And if you really love them, you're going to care about them. And in caring about them, you are engaging social awareness and beginning the opportunity then of changing and powerfully impacting their lives. So, number one, techniques, live in the moment. And to live in the moment, you use your stop, look, and listen technique. Number two, practice empathetic listening. Now, this also goes by active listening, but I have to tell you that empathetic listening builds off of that in a way. And one of my favorite authors here, and I'm going to quote this book here, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. He talks about a couple of things in this in habit number 5, and that is seek to understand before being understood. Seek to understand before being understood. And he's got a quote here that I want to share with you, and I'm going to just pull this page up here. The real key to your influence with me is your example, your actual conduct. Your example flows naturally out of your character or the kind of person you really are. Not what others say you are or what you may want me to think you are, but how you really are. You see, this is part of it here. And on page 240, he talks about normal listening. When another person speaks, we're usually listening at one of 4 levels. And I think this is very true. We may be ignoring the other person, not really listening to them at all. You see, we haven't stopped. We're definitely not in the moment with that person. We may be practicing pretend listening. We say, yeah, right, and we're not paying attention at all. We may be practicing selective listening, hearing only certain parts of the conversation. And boy, this is a very common thing where we just hear the parts that we want to deal with and ignore the rest. We may be trying to be attentive, but the real highest form is empathetic listening. Next to survival, the greatest need of a human being is psychological survival, to be understood and to be affirmed, to be validated and appreciated. You see, if you're going to be able to achieve at the level that you need to and be able to kind of get to this place where you're going to be really good at social awareness, you're going to have to begin to really listen. Now, I'm going to go into more of these listening techniques as we deal with this in another part of this course. But empathetic listening, active listening, these are well worth your time to develop. It includes different strategies and techniques about listening. But if you aren't going to stop, live in the moment, and then quit pretending about being a part of caring, but actually become caring so that you can actually listen to what people are saying and not just think about what you're planning to say in response to them, which is what almost all of us do. But you're actually listening to what the other person is saying. You will develop amazing ability to be able to feed back into that person's life, power, and build a relationship that will be transformative. And then number 3, everyone wants to be valued and appreciated. That's the third technique here, and it's so true. Genuine valuing and caring for others. Don't pretend to love, but genuinely love, as Paul said in the book of Romans that I read for you. Your expressed concern for an individual will make a difference. It will open doors for you. The attitude that you use, your choice of words, your tone of voice, your body language all convey a message. Every time you talk to someone, your choice of words, your attitude, your tone of voice, your body language, they all convey a message. What's the message that you're conveying? I care about you, or I'm really not really paying attention. I really don't care about you. I might pretend to care about you, but you're conveying a message every time you speak with someone. What is the message that you're doing? And this works just as well on the phone as it does in person. You can convey powerful messages literally through the voice that you use on the phone, or you can convey, you're bored, get off the phone, leave me alone, I am bothered by you, I am too busy to talk to you, I don't have time for you. Do you really care? Is this something that is really a part of your life? Everything that you do in relationship to the people around you indicates whether you care or not. Do you really show that concern that is a part of these guide rails or guardrails that are going to give you the ability to achieve the goals you want? Self-awareness is strong and powerful. Self-management gives you ability not to be hijacked, but when you begin to move now into social awareness, you begin to engage everything that is a part of what it means to be in Christ, to genuinely love other people. But this is a choice only you can make. This is a choice that doesn't happen automatically, because the automatic choice is going to be look at your phone, look at the TV, get distracted, read about anything but engage the people around you. Engage the people around you. Stop, look, and listen. Really listen. Practice empathetic listening and show by your tone of voice, by your engagement, that you are invested in caring for that individual. When you do this, amazing things will happen. Hope you're enjoying these lessons on emotional intelligence. Thank you very much.